Are President Biden's proposed tax bill changes killing real estate? Let's take a look. First and foremost, this is not a political post. Everything that I'm sharing is supposed to be factual, and it's only reflective of the current changes proposed in the upcoming tax bill. President Biden's team is proposing changes to the 1031 exchange program, a program that exists to help investors take the gains that they recognize from selling one property and use those gains to roll it into the purchase of a new property. If they do so within a certain time period, they get to recognize that new property without paying capital gains taxes on the gains from the first sale. The new proposed plan is going to limit investors' ability to utilize this exchange program to $500,000 in gains or below. Meaning if you sell a property with gains over $500,000, you don't get to exchange those profits and you will face steep capital gains taxes. Let's put our investor hat on for 1 second and think about the consequences of what will happen with this program. Think of a large major institutional investor who wants to deploy $10 million into the real estate market. Now, they might be looking at a multifamily investment. Maybe that investment could appreciate and gain some capital gains of close to $2 million in the coming year. If they go to sell that property, under the new proposed laws, they'll only be able to roll the first $500,000 of those gains towards another property, and then they're going to have to pay capital gains on the other $1.5 million. That comes out to a tune of almost $650,000 in taxes that they would not have had to pay if they sold that property prior to these changes. So think about that same investor. Now that they know if they invest in the larger opportunity, it's less enticing because of the capital gains taxes they're going to face. Where are they going to invest their money? Real estate is still a sound investment. It is still a great tool to build wealth. They're just going to focus on the distribution a little differently. Rather than one $10 million multifamily property that's going to accumulate $2 million in gains in a year, why not focus on 20 $500,000 homes that will appreciate much lower gains per property and then write off the gains from those properties over time? Maybe sell two of the oldest properties in the portfolio every year, use those gains to acquire new properties and build wealth that way. The major concern here is that we're now inviting institutional investors, corporate investors, large cash-heavy buyers into the already hyper-competitive single-family market. We have an inventory shortage and an abundance of buyers right now who are already struggling to compete in the inventory as it exists. If these changes take place, those buyers are going to face new corporate competition that are going to be cash buyers, focused on lots of opportunities in small, hyper-focused zones, and it's going to drive hyper demand even higher. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, I'm not opposed to the corporations paying for this. Let them pay their taxes. But again, we have to really think about where this impact lies. If we look at, according to Bloomberg, those who take advantage of 1031 exchanges and the distribution of wealth, corporate investors are taking advantage of the 1031 exchange program to recognize about $2.3 billion in gains. Now, that sounds like a ton of money, but when you compare it to the small scale investors, your mom and pop real estate owners who are just landlords or maybe own a few properties, they're utilizing the 1038 exchange program to the extent of $5.7 billion a year, more than double what your corporate institutional investors are leveraging it for. So at first glance, yes, we're penalizing the corporate investors. They're paying more in taxes. But in reality, this proposed change directly impacts any small scale investor looking to build wealth through real estate. In my opinion, this is a very big, very expensive mistake, and I hope that it doesn't take place. If you have questions, if you want to ask more about the 1038 exchange program, or if you just want to talk more about your investing strategy and potential changes coming down the pipe, please don't hesitate to reach out.